In this episode,
My Twitter polls were more successful than the Brexit vote.
and I'm still not buying Raheem.
The Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners, welcome back to episode 53 of Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name is Serge.
And my name is James.
And we're here again to talk about the Fantasy
To talk.
Premier League. International nonsense is flipping over.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, good results for England, of course.
Great results, in fairness.
Especially because the youngsters got blooded kind of sort of.
Yeah, the kids who played really, Hudson-Odoi and Sancho, really did well for themselves.
Yeah. And we've known that they're talents. So yeah, international break is now over. It feels like an eternity, and we are straight slap bang wham into double game week 32.
Probably the most important game week of the season, perhaps.
So far? Or just in general ever?
There's not going to be a game week with more games than this.
No, that's true. The other one's only got 4 doubles.
I'm going to presume that 99% of our listeners are using a chip this week.
Yeah, quite a lot will be.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
We think we know from the polls that we did that the majority of our listeners are free hitting.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the case for all players in the game. But, I mean, realistically, if you're not using a chip this week, it's probably because you've spunked them, I would suggest.
There's very few strategies that didn't involve using a chip in a double game week. Very few.
No, not one of the plan that certainly we covered. There's nothing that wouldn't have had a chip usage in this week and really 35.
So this game week is long, yo. Starts on Saturday, ends next Thursday is the last game, right?
Just realised we haven't even worked out how we're going to cover this shit next week.
We'll
do that afterwards.
I think we're going to have to do a mini pod halfway through the game week and then wrap up on Friday with a quick turnaround into game week 3 after that.
Can we do Thursday?
There's a fixture on Thursday, isn't there?
Nah, Wednesday's finished.
Oh, okay, fine. So yeah, Thursday's good.
Monday, Thursday, short pods.
Thursday the 4th.
Done.
Correct. So we'll be back on Thursday then next week. But in the meantime, we've reviewed 31, so we don't need to worry about that. Based on the old Twitter, yeah, you're right. Most people on free hit, quite a few people on Wildcard, but the majority of people on free hit. What else do we have to do in this episode other than talk about free hit?
We can talk about different ideas of what people are doing. As I said, from the polls we put out, it suggests that the majority of the Twitter community are going to be using their free hit this week. And when you look through people's tweets, it does seem so much free hits. I've not come across many teams that look like they're wildcard. And although we suggested there was a movement towards people thinking of wildcard in this week and free hitting in game week 33.
I had a listen to a couple of other pods and a bit of YouTube and what have you. I think Tom, who got this, is wildcarding. Maybe I know he free hitted last week. So there are a few out there who are trying something a little bit different.
There's nothing wrong with the strategy. I looked at what a wild card would look like if you were to do it now and how that would compare to, say, my free hit team. If you're not free hitting in 33, it's completely unmanageable. Like you have to make sacrifices somewhere.
Yeah.
You can manage through from 32 to 35 if you're using that free hit to cover off game week 33. The thing I found when I looked at the wild card for 32, trying to pick a team for 35 as well, because things will come up like injuries and things like that will ruin your plans, was like, for example, I had no Chelsea players.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got a double in 35. And I'd go heavier on Spurs, even though personally I'm not going to have Spurs by the looks of it.
In this episode. In this game week, sorry.
On the free hit. And then but what you'd have in the difference between the free hit and the wild card, obviously with a free hit you can put in like your Peltiers, your 3.9s, your 3.8s, fill that bench with crap. The Colin Quainer 4.3.
My bench is so bad in this free hit
But you
week.
wouldn't do that on a wild card.
No,
so
you couldn't.
I mean, I only had in the wildcard team that I drafted, the only player I'd have at sort of sub 4.7, I think, was Valerie at 4.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd have sort of like Delafeo and Ward-Prowse in at the same price, Duffy and Bolly in at the same price, just trying to carry through. Because you've got to remember, obviously, Brighton and Cardiff have got the extra fixture in game week 34 as well.
Double.
So
triple-double,
in that
whatever you wanna call
wildcard
it.
team that I'd have done now, I'd have had triple Brighton, Ryan, Duffy and Murray.
Yep.
I don't see any reason why not, because especially if you're going to free hit 33, essentially you've got 6 fixtures in the next 3 game weeks. I think you'd have to go that way. Cardiff don't have a double in 35. They've got Chelsea and City in 32 and 2 away fixtures in 34. So they're easier just to bypass, I think.
Let's talk about our own free hit teams as we'd planned to. James will give a rundown of his. He's been pretty locked in for the best part of a week, probably, really, right? You kind
It's
of
really not that far off the first draft I sent out.
Yeah.
It's not that far
I
off.
only pressed the free hit button about 3 hours ago. I'd been thinking about which players I wanted, but I just never got around to actually pulling the trigger. Do you know what it was? I think inside me there was some kind of fear about putting through like 15 transfers, pressing the free hit button, it fucking up, and then getting a minus 50 or a minus 60 or whatever it'd be.
Some disaster stories, unfortunately, of people who
hitting the wrong button.
No, people have built up value in players like, say, Pogba.
Yeah.
Transferred him out to see what it looks like without him, and then want to bring him back and realise it's costing a lot more fucking money.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, shit happens. A few people said to me they should rate the rules clearer, but personally, I think you know what you're selling at and what you're buying at. And
yeah,
but the idea is to draft it and not, if you've got the value in someone and you intend to keep them in the free hit, you've just got to keep them in.
Yeah.
You can mock it up without making the transfers.
It's a 1 week issue now because you'll get the player back in literally a game week.
Yes,
so
but it is subtracting from the value from this week, which, I mean, if you end up doing that, it's a shitter. If you've built up 1.3, what is it, in Jimenez, decided to look at a team without him and then decide you want him in, then that's a bit silly.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I have that issue with anyone that I've got in my free hit team. Just check in. No. The only person I've kept and carried through is Paul Pogba. Other than that, everyone else is out. Who should start, you or me?
I think me, because I think there's more of a desperation unusually to hear what's going on with your team after all the shit you said last week.
I tweeted my team about 2 hours ago, and I have read the comments, and actually they're not bad.
Really?
Yeah, they're not bad. There are a couple
To be fair, I tagged it and went give him some abuse.
Nah, I'd put it out myself as well, and whilst I don't have as many followers on Twitter as you, I do have some. There are probably two themes that have come up in my free hit team, which we'll come back to. Talk about yours. In goal, number 1.
It's not locked in, but I'm going Ben Foster, as I said last week.
Watford?
Yeah. I might come down to Matt Ryan, because at the moment I've paired it with Foster and Gomez as backup, which I like doing just in case something goes wrong with the keeper. As I said, I mean, it's 99% sure that won't happen.
Yeah, I mean,
at the moment I've got the money, so it's not a problem. But I have looked at an alternative, which would mean Ryan and Button, which is that's a saving of a good 0.4, which can then change something else if I want to. I'm likely to go back 3 at the moment, which will be Lindelof, David Luiz, who I've carried through, and Laporte. Midfield 4 of Pogba, Hazard, Sterling. And the questionable one at the moment is Delafeo. He's the least secure in my team at the moment. My theory is that he won't play at United and he will play against Watford. If I decide that's likely to become the other way round, then it becomes a little pointless. Yeah. And therefore, I might look at, like I said, that Brighton swap in the keeper positions. And then that allows me to move, say, from like Delafeo to Milivojevic, for example, if I want to go that route. Or I could just go Delafeo to Townsend. Is another one I've considered. MacArthur, and then moving something else. Palace very much in my thoughts. And front 3 will be Aguero, captain, Higuain, and Rashford. Okay. Rashford is obviously yellow flag at the moment.
Yeah, is that just to get out of the internationals?
Now, Lukaku, I think probably. Although he had been covering something carrying something from the Liverpool game, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So we don't really know.
Look at City. Have you seen City on the game
But-
at the moment?
Rashford's. What do you mean?
Apart from, I think Laporte and Danilo are the only defenders that don't have a yellow flag on City.
Oh,
on
is
the
that
game.
right?
Stones, Otamendi, Walker, Mendy all have yellow flags. There's two defenders,
and
two
they're all
City
fit,
defenders.
by the way. They're all training.
Yeah, exactly. So that goes to show that in the international
The
break, you
reports
can't read
this
shit all
morning,
into these flags.
the reports this morning from a few Manchester United accounts, which have not really seen verified yet, is that Lukaku, who I've seen in a lot, is out for a couple of weeks. Now that only strengthens Rashford's position, and you think he's going to play up front.
Yeah.
And as someone who's carried through the value from him as well, it's fine. I will only be taking Rashford out if Solskjaer says tomorrow or Friday, no, he's a big risk. He probably won't play both games or something like that. In which case, everything changes for me. But otherwise, the only question marks for me are around Foster and Delafeu if Rashford is fit. And on the bench at the moment, I've got covering Tompkins, Dale Stevens, Peltier.
Right.
So I could go right cheaper there and then throw something out. So I could go right down on them and go Delafeu to Milivojevic just on its own if that's what I decide I want to do. One of the things I've thought about the longer the week goes on is rather than picking a free hit for the double, and I know I want 3 United, 3 Chelsea, 3 City because of the fixtures. I know people keep saying United's fit 2 fixtures ain't that great. I agree, but I think they'll win both games. I've considered looking at an idea of basically what would be if I was just picking a free hit just on the weekend games for those teams that are doubling. And if you consider Watford go to United first, whereas, say, Palace play Huddersfield at home, Brighton play Southampton at home, actually, that's not a terrible idea to consider a free hitting towards the players who've got the best fixture first.
And then everything else
and
is
it would
a bonus.
be another reason to look away from, say, Spurs obviously go to Liverpool before they play Palace, for example.
Yeah.
Watford obviously go to United first before Fulham, so you'd look away from them. Wolves' first fixture is better than their second, you would suggest, away to Burnley, so you might want to look at them again. Wolves for me is I'm avoiding as almost kind of my differential because I haven't carried any of that value with Doherty and Jimenez, but interestingly in the polls I put out, that was the most surprising result for me, was to see that half of respondents were saying they're not going to have either in this free hit. And now I don't know if that's because people were overly worried about the rotation. My opinion, as I said to you off air earlier today, is we're all going to get fucked on this rotation.
We definitely
You can't
are.
sit here and go, right, Sterling's playing twice, Aguero's playing twice. None of it. There's only a couple of players. You know Harry Kane will play twice, which is another reason why I think it's that security. People want to look at him at the moment. Pogba will play twice, but there's not many you can say that about.
Your the biggest takeaway from your free hit team is no Spurs, no Wolves. You've gone away from two sides that a lot of people will have players from, but we can only fit 11 on the pitch. So there you go. And captain, obviously, Sergio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just you made reference there to your the polls on Twitter. I think it's worth just letting the listeners know that you did a 20-question survey on Twitter based around the free hit kind of team that people would be putting out, ranging from all the different options. And we will go through those 20 questions and the results because I think they were really fascinating. Some of them hardly surprised me at all in terms of the answers. Some I was like, oh, that's a little bit interesting. Let's see.
Yeah, and particularly that with Wolves, like I said.
Yeah, and we did have, like, most of the polls were in excess of 700-800 votes.
It's a good sizable amount.
Well, 800 votes is more people than fucking voting in Parliament for this Brexit bullshit that's happening, mate. So
there's more people was on the march to stay in, wasn't it?
True.
Or leave.
Hashtag James sort out Brexit because you can get more people to vote in one direction. Oh dear. So my free hit team has been on my mind obviously since the last pod.
Drum roll.
But I didn't know where I wanted to take it, and
well, we knew that.
It was more a case of I know where I want to take it, but it's a little. Some of it is away from conventional wisdom, and so I did do a little bit more research than I had when we walked blind into the last pod, and I've been thinking about it a bit more. For everybody that's wondering about Sterling and Sergio is in my free hit team as it stands at the moment, and has the armband. I don't like the fact that he's 11.8 million. And Sterling's 11.6. I feel like Sterling offers better value at 0.2 less. and that may still change. Like my whole team's still up for change. However, I have double City defense: Ederson in goal and Laporte in defense. I feel like that's an opportunity for 2 clean sheets. So 4 clean sheets between the two of them is a lot of points. So double City defence, and then David Luiz. Chelsea obviously have got good fixtures. I need a Chelsea defender. It was either Rudiger or Luiz. I don't think the extra... A, I'm skint, but B, the extra for Azpilicueta or Alonso I can't justify. So it was a choice of Luiz or Rudiger. I went with David Luiz.
Okay, I mean, my only take... I mean, if money was no object, I would definitely go Azpilicueta.
Yeah, but
for me as
sadly.
well, having had David Luiz from the 5.5 at the start of the season really kind of helps push that idea, because I think he'll start the weekend at 6. So that's more money in the bank that I've got to play with in theory. I think Azpilicueta is the safe one this way. I think Luiz is the one who's most at risk from rotation.
I don't know if I agree with you there. He started a lot of the games. He seems favourable, and they've got good options at centre back as well. He does keep playing.
If he's going to give Christensen a game, it's most likely to be for David Luiz, I would suggest.
The annoying thing is that all of these teams that have got doubles, it's because they've got a cup game straight after. So it's not like there's a gap between their second league fixture and then they're straight into the FA Cup weekend. This is where the rotation.
So Chelsea don't play between
gap,
Wednesday and Monday.
Yeah, they've got the biggest gap, but it still is straight into a weekend kind of sort of fixtures. But there you go. Ederson, Laporte, David Luiz. Those 3 I don't think are going to change by the time I get to my final free hit team. And my third defender is Johnny, attacking fullback, and the cheapest one that's got a double at 4.3 million.
That's it.
Simple as that. I couldn't find any other defender at that price point that I would consider.
It was 4.3?
4.3.
I've got one sitting on my bench at the moment I'd favour over that.
Who have you got on your
James
bench?
Tompkins.
He doesn't offer the attacking threat.
No, I think I saw a stat that nobody scored less goals from set pieces this season than Palace, which seems remarkable, actually. But it does probably offer you 2 games, starting with Huddersfield at home.
And you think Johnny doesn't?
I think a lot of, particularly in the wing back and the central midfield positions, I think they're avoidable Wolves.
I don't know. Huddersfield scored 3 at our place. They're not totally useless in front of goal. They're not too bad. And, ex-West Ham, I'll think about Tompkins. I'll think about him. It's like going back, isn't it?
We've just changed your team again, haven't we?
Nah, I think Johnny's the one for me there. I do like Wolves' fixtures, despite you not wanting any of them. But I understand it's value-based. Midfield, Heung-min Son, Eden Hazard, who I've carried through, I've got a bit of value in. Paul Pogba, who I've carried through because I've got a bit of value in. And I've got Deulofeu playing at the moment. So I've gone with 4 in the middle. Son, Hazard, Deulofeu, Pogba. Up front, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero, and Batshuayi.
Okay.
Michu Batshuayi.
I'm all right with that. It's very popular at the moment.
So there's a big... I mean, the Huddersfield home fixture is really interesting. My bench is just like fodder, mate. Hudson-Odoi, Connolly, Simpson, whoever I can get at the cheapest possible price. So that bench is screwed. I think everyone there's going to play at least one game. We all know everyone's at risk of rotation. For me, I've got the City coverage in the striker in Aguero, and then defensive coverage. Couple of Chelsea players in there because they've got good fixtures. I've only got 1 United, and then I've got double Spurs. Biggest takeaways on Twitter for my team were double Spurs, are you mad? And where's Leroy Sané in your team? So Sané's not in my team, and he's not coming into my team.
It's interesting
because I've only got 3 City picks.
Essentially, even in our free hits, there's different strategies. So at the moment, I'm kind of in. I've spoke about this before last season and before 31, the all-in strategy. So at the moment, if I go Foster and Deulofeu, I've only got players from 4 teams.
Yep.
I'm trying to hammer it. You've got more of a spread. So you've got a bit
7
Spurs,
teams.
Palace, Wolves. You've got a little bit of more of a mix in there, haven't you?
Correct.
Interesting.
And I don't think it's right.
No, there's not. No,
but it's because most teams have one tough fixture, one easy fixture. So you're kind of hedging your bets there. Now, so there are a few question marks still, and primarily around that double Spurs, Harry Kane. You did the poll on Harry Kane. How many goals do people think he's going to score? And it was 1, right? 1 or less. I had more of the votes. If I move away from Harry Kane, there's one place I'm going. Can you guess where it is? He's still a premium striker.
Aubameyang.
Correct. I think I might
fucking know you.
I might just break the mold and go with one single game week player at home to Newcastle. Tidy fixture. Spurs are okay there, and it'll give me a bit of money to beef up one of the midfielders, possibly Delafeu to something or someone
That is a lot of money.
for a single game week player
Yeah.
at home to Newcastle.
Yeah. I think that I'd said this last week, like there's literally nothing wrong with having these guys in your team. I think there's more for the Liverpool players if you've come through and you with sort of Mane's and Salah's and stuff like that. Salah's obviously easy to walk away from. If you've got like Mane, Robertson, Alexander-Arnold was a doubt for the weekend, but then you're more likely to hold, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, if you're free hitting, less doesn't matter as much.
I don't think there's too many will have come through with Aubameyang unless there was an expectation that Arsenal were going to have a double game week, which once the Manchester derby was announced was off the table straight away. So.
Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe Kane to Aubameyang, but it gives me a couple of million, but a bit less than a couple of million. Don't really know what to spend it on.
Leroy Sané.
Yeah, maybe. I can't. I've already got 3 City players. I'm sorry, Leroy. I'm sorry. But you're not getting in now. Maybe Wildcard.
Just to clarify,
34.
you've got Aguero, not Sterling.
Yeah, I've gone Aguero, not Sterling. And I feel like it's a bit of a defensive move, really going Aguero, not Sterling. Yeah.
So it was
To
interesting
cover
from...
off, obviously, the high ownership.
I don't hate it. There's lots of change, but then I'm sure there's lots that people would change from my team. I think it's really important to say that I do see a lot of bashing on Twitter, and I generally am staying away from people's teams and having an opinion because, especially for those on the free hit, like you really should have the team that you want.
Yeah, this is a bit of fun, yo.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had a poll out, and I don't want to jump the gun, but asking people how many points they would be happy with this game week, right?
I'd set it too high.
I feel like I was like, who's hoping for 175 plus points this
But
game
some people voted for it, right?
That's mental.
Yeah, but if you captain Aguero and he gets 5 or 6, it's fucking on straight away, isn't it?
Yeah, quite possibly, but I don't know about 5 or 6 from Sergio Aguero. That's really wishful thinking.
Yeah. It's not impossible though, is it?
So yeah, I'm there. I'm there or thereabouts. If this was my free hit team that I went in with because I got hit by a pair of busts, then I'd be cool.
Nice.
But I think maybe Kane to Aubameyang. But it doesn't feel like a good strategic move unless I know where else I can put that money.
Can I give you a serious bit of advice?
Do it.
No. Listen back to the podcast this week and don't look at it again till Friday.
Listen back to this episode.
Yeah?
And don't look at it again till Friday.
Yeah, that's my honest advice to you.
And is that advice that we'll share with all our listeners?
Oh, that's up to them. I'm quite decisive in terms of what I'm doing, I feel, unless I've suddenly got if Rashford's out, then it opens up different doors for me. But otherwise, I feel like 9 of the players I'm locked in. And
yeah.
I've not touched it for a week at all. So I think if you feel comfortable, like, why keep playing with it? The more you look at it, the more you will want to change it.
Correct.
Ben Crellin was saying that the other night. I saw a tweet from him, and he was saying like, "Look, I'm not tinkering anymore." And an hour later, he was back on looking, and he changed something.
Yeah,
you
sure.
can't help yourself because you start thinking, "Oh, what if I play with this like this?" So, yeah, I wouldn't, and definitely don't like Saturday morning. Don't be playing with it unless there's like some serious news, like
True.
Aguero hasn't travelled to Craven Cottage or something. Like,
Yeah.
Lock it
but
in
then at
Friday
that
night
point,
and
I mean,
forget
you're
about
gonna
it.
you may even want to just keep him for the single fixture anyway, unless you got the money to get to a Harry
Possibly.
Kane or what have you. So yeah, interesting to see. There we go. Talk to me about your wild card team that you had prepared, because the difference with the wild card team is obviously there are a couple of teams that you mentioned in there that I'm looking very closely at for my wild card in 34. You're just bringing them in a couple of weeks earlier, starting with Southampton. And
Yeah,
the two that
so-
you've got in there are the two that I'm looking at.
Yeah, so we know there's a few that are on this strategy, definitely, and I don't hate the strategy at all. My opinion against it was always that you're going to want a very different team from 32 to 35. So in terms of my setup, if I was to wildcard now, I'd have only 6 players from my current free hit 32 team that would be in the 35 team. And those are the 3 City boys, Laporte, Sterling, Aguero, Pogba, and actually the 2 Watford players, Foster and Delafeu.
Okay.
So that would mean for me, who's going into free hit 32 with 3 Chelsea, no Chelsea. That then opens up the availability to go for, which I want to do on my 34 wildcard, is go for Kane and Son, which I really want to do. Go straight into that for Huddersfield at home. The 35 double is ugly for Spurs, but actually if you break it down into 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, the remaining 5 game weeks, there is a home fixture in 4 of those 5 game weeks. That really appeals to me.
Yeah.
Southampton you mentioned, so I would have thrown Valerie and Ward-Prowse in there. I mentioned briefly I'd go 3 Brighton.
Yeah.
The 32 doubles and the 35 doubles aren't brilliant, but they start with a decent home fixture this week. And obviously we've got the 34 double, which is so attractive. So I'd go Ryan, Duffy, Murray. Happy to go with that. You know Murray's going to get rotated, but if you free hit in 33, like I said, you're getting 6 fixtures for the 3 game weeks, basically. And then to fill in, I went Bolly as I think it's the safest one for Wolves.
Yeah, and he's cheap.
In terms of rotation, 4.6. And I threw Kolasinac in from Arsenal at 5, who obviously you could leave out this week, but double in 35. You will want some coverage. I don't think you can go, if you're wildcarding now, you can't go too heavy on Arsenal. A, because it would be expensive to leave on the bench this week if you want a team full of double game week players. And their Europa fixture could go either way.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough.
And there's no knowing how that rotation is going to work. I mean, we saw even in the United fixture in game week 30, like nobody expected that team with Ozil, Ramsey, Aubameyang, Lacazette all in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there'd be a temptation to go with one of the front 2, but I couldn't argue for that to be a better choice than Kane or Aguero.
Yeah.
Was my opinion.
Do you want me to entertain you with a few of the comments left on my free hit team for shits and giggles?
Please do, mate.
So, at the Three Amigos podcast said, it's not that bad, actually. Guys, you got me on Twitter, DM me, I'm coming to join your podcast, because if that's the kind of love that I'm going to get from them, I'm not fucking sitting here talking to you about FPL anymore.
There'll be no DM. They got some standards.
It's not that bad. I think that's damning praise, isn't it? It's not that bad. Actually, Mars, fuck that.
You know what it was? It was the shock at looking at it and going, oh, there's some players in there I like.
I do like this FPL_Frank, a less than sterling effort. No pun intended. Feed the goat, FPL, Boring Sport UK, where's Leroy? The question should be,
you had quite a few sort of Sane
his,
videos sent to you, didn't it?
Yeah, and FPL addict as regular. On the plus side, no hammers, and it wouldn't put it past me to pick one, but no, we're garbage.
No comment.
So there you go. And Lee Jackson at Lee Jackson _92 on Twitter. I think this is probably my favourite. Yeah, fair play. Sterling has looked bang average the last few weeks. He's probably right. What
was it? I saw someone tweeted if you triple captain him over the 2 England games, he'd have got you 112 points or something.
Yeah. He did really well. But it wouldn't surprise you if Pep rotated him or rested him or dropped him after playing both games. So,
no idea.
Whereas Sergio, I think, is a little bit more reliable. So I've gone with Aguero.
I think the hope with Aguero Sterling would be that they'll do enough damage in one game if that's what it comes to.
Yeah.
I don't think you can avoid that. I think Aguero, if people will say, what's your must? Aguero has to be. Right, he's got to go in.
Yep.
I think there'll be a shitload of people who are triple captain him who are not so much in the Twitter community. A lot.
Obviously, the best fixture was earlier in the season when people triple captain. I know one of my cousins triple captained him early in the season. Still the best triple captain, I think, possibly. Was it game week 4 or something like that? He scored 4 goals or whatever.
No, isn't Delafeu at Cardiff was the highest single score, wasn't it?
Yeah, he is now. I think up until then, Aguero from early in the season was still
I think you might
pipping
be right.
it. So What should we do? Twitter questions?
Or do you want to cover some of this stuff from the polls quickly?
Yeah, let's do the polls. Have you got the answers, or do you want me to pull up
No,
the
I
answers?
want you to get them up.
Oh,
But
make it complicated.
While you're getting them up,
Yes.
I can tell you the answer for the first one. So the first question I sent out
Here we go.
was
We're starting number one.
What chip are you using this week? Now, 89% of the people who responded to us said they were going to use their free hit. Now, what's interesting to that is the official account tweeted out on Saturday the number of chips that had been activated so far this week.
Yeah.
Only 30% approximately of those activations were for a free hit. There were more triple captains, and that's what I said. I think outside
More
the
triple captains than free hits.
Yes,
Fair play.
I think a lot of people are going in on Aguero triple captain. A lot.
83% at the moment as it stands, free hit, followed by triple captain. The others are negligible.
What's important to say is, when you're looking through Twitter, as we know a lot of our listeners will be doing, you're coming across a very familiar team quite a lot. And I see a lot of people looking for that differential. I mean, in terms of free hitting this week, it looks like, for example, Kane, at sort of 15% ownership at the moment, is going to really classify as one, potentially. But my advice for those free hitting is pick the fucking 11 players that you think are going to get the most points. And don't worry about trying to be too clever about it. If you think, like Delafeu is owned by 2 or 3%, that he's going to be in that team, stick him in. Whether he's a differential or not doesn't matter, because I promise you, in spite of what you may be seeing on your timeline, hitting the free hit and nailing it is going to be a big jump. I keep hearing people say, I need to do something different from this person, etc. Why don't we all just pick the same team? Let's enjoy it together for a weekend, and let's hope we're all successful this weekend.
Yeah. No, let's pick different teams.
We will get the jumps. There are a lot of people in the top 100,000 we know who are nowhere near Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh.
If anyone that's wondering why James is laughing, the mic has just attacked me in the middle of the face. But you'll have to go to youtube.com/Planet FPL to watch that video.
The YouTube.
Yeah, we're probably about 15, 20 minutes in. Before we go into question number 2, I want to ask you about that, because you're talking about differentials.
I think we're a lot more than 15, 20 minutes in, by the way.
Nah, I don't know. Anyway, you're talking about pick the differentials. And when people have been saying to me, why have you picked 2 Spurs? And so there's as many people that said that's potentially a good differential. I think that you guys are going to do well at Liverpool, and I also think you're going to do well at home against Palace. I actually do think you are more than capable of going up to Anfield and getting a result. I know Liverpool haven't lost there for however long and whatever else, and they're flying high, but you are a good attacking team. Hence, I'm happy to go with Son and Kane. What you've been to the stadium last week. How do you think the team would adapt in terms of, do you think it's like drastically different that they're going to be like, well, what the fuck is this? Or do you think the atmosphere will be home?
As I said last week, it's going to be a positive. And on what I saw at the weekend, it's going to be a bigger positive than I thought it was. It doesn't change my opinion on, at the moment, not going with Spurs for the 2 fixtures in Gameweek.
It's not as big a risk as maybe...
But it's definitely a positive. There's no question about it. I can promise you that the little noise that there was for an under-18s game at the weekend, it really does hold. So the atmosphere for the Palace game, the doors are going to be open 3 hours before kickoff. I know a few people have seen some of the videos circulating online of people staying in the ground and drinking after the game. It's going to be like that before the game. Atmosphere is going to be buzzing. In terms of an immediate impact for that one Crystal Palace fixture, I don't think anyone can know.
And am I mad to think that you can go to Liverpool and do something?
No,
there we go.
We're capable at any time of going anywhere and winning, but our recent away performances, Southampton, Burnley, Chelsea, doesn't suggest that that's on the cards, mate, I'm afraid to say. So I'll repeat what I tweeted to FPL Canuck, who tweeted something similar to what you're saying earlier. And I said to him, give me the fucking drugs, mate, and let me take them just before kickoff, because I would be delighted with a draw on Sunday, definitely.
Question 2 on the poll then. Let's move on from this, right? Who will be your double game week 32 captain? And the list that you provided was Aguero, Hazard, Kane, Sterling. Outright winner, 74% was Aguero, closely followed 20% by Raheem Sterling.
Closely followed.
Not closely, really.
No, it's not.
You've got Hazard at 4, Kane at 2, and that's that. Nothing else.
That's high. It's really high, and I think if you look at the guys who've got bigger accounts than us who'll put a similar poll out, I think they'll end up with similar results. I think Sterling is the alternate captain this weekend.
Yeah,
I
but
think
it's City, right?
Everyone's going on Aguero, and as I said, there's going to be a lot triple captain in there as well. I really believe that. I think most of those triple captains that get launched will be on Aguero.
Yep. Question number 3. How many Liverpool players do you think you will own in double game week 32? Our survey says
It was high, wasn't it?
85% of people said nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was evenly split against 1, 2, and 3, like 6, and 3%, but those are negligible numbers.
So if we look
vast majority of people, no Liverpool.
89% said they'll free hit.
No, 83%.
83. And 85% are
With
saying
no
no
Liverpool.
Liverpool. You
Correct.
can see the correlation there, right?
Yeah, so most people who are free hitting were avoiding Liverpool. I mean, and quite
makes
rightly,
sense.
a home tie against Spurs, against another top 6 side, you would avoid when you've got the likes of City and Chelsea have got those kind of fixtures. Come on, mate, you ain't going to be going to Liverpool.
No,
unless
I
you need
agree.
to.
I still think for those who are carrying, and obviously if you're not free hitting in 33
Yeah.
and you need to carry it through, just stick with it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if you're in a bad chip position, hold your Liverpool players would be my advice.
Correct. Question number 4. Do you intend to own Aguero and Sterling in double game week 32? So again, yes, I'll have both. Aguero only, Sterling only, or neither. My name is Such. There's 1% of people that are in me. That's 70. That's 7 people. 8 people out of 766 votes.
They're going to have neither.
Who are you? DM me or tweet me or tag me or
There are
whatever.
7 people in the Twitter community,
8,
all
7,
called
8.
Suj.
Sterling only was 3%. Aguero only was 5%. 92% of the 766 people are getting both.
Yeah. Well, it tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? And I think, like I said, people will think into that too much, or I need to move away from one of them. Don't. They're the first 2 people on the sheet for me. It's nothing to think elsewhere. Because either of them, Aguero could do bits on Saturday and Aguero could do bits next Wednesday. Sterling could do bits next Wednesday. And if you're going in that way, it's probably the sort of thing you're hoping for. I don't think there's a need to be clever about it. Just get them in if you're free hitting.
I'll get 1. I've gone from none to 1. I'm not getting both.
Are you serious? You really believe that?
Fucking Mike. Yeah. I'm not doing it.
The mic is slapping you in the face and telling you, get them fucking both.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting both.
The podcast will be called Suj is not getting Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
All right, fine. What's the next question?
How many goals do you think Harry Kane will score in double game week 32? A little bit more spread, but 54% of people think only 1 goal, and then another 33 think 2. So it's 1 or 2.
So how many was 3 or more as well?
4%.
So it's under 40% think he'll score 2 or more.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going without as well. So I think similar. I think, yeah, he probably will score against Palace on the Wednesday night. And he's actually got a decent record at Anfield as well. But I can't, for his money, I can't look at those 2 fixtures and think there'll be a major haul from him.
No,
I think he's a safety pick as well because he'll play twice.
Yeah, and I could easily. I think I went with 1 goal. I was probably being conservative. In an ideal world, I'd want 1 goal in each game. I don't think he's going to haul. I could see Aubameyang scoring a hat-trick against Newcastle at home, which is why I'm not.
I don't, by the way.
You don't think Aubameyang should score a hat-trick?
Newcastle are all right. They don't get slapped much.
No, I disagree. I think Arsenal at home could potentially rack up 2 or 3. Let's move on, shall we? Question number 6. Bloody hell, this is going to take forever.
Whack through the answers.
Do you have any intention of Mo Salah in your FPL squad between game week 34 and 38? 65%, 2/3 of people, nah.
Yeah, interesting.
I would actually expect it to be a little bit higher.
Yeah, so did I.
But 2/3 of people are not going to be having Mo Salah in their team.
So it does suggest that.
Neither are you, and neither are Mac.
No, he's definitely coming out for me.
Yeah.
When I wildcard. It does suggest that a lot of people have probably got him, not using him on their free hit, and are actually going to carry through. I think a lot of people are looking at the fixtures 35, 36. Obviously, you go to Cardiff away and Huddersfield at home, and there's FOMO in there. because you know what he can do.
Yeah.
I need to see something on that pitch that's been different from what I've seen over the last month. And I'm hoping I don't fucking see it on Sunday. I'm sure I probably will.
Yeah. Which of the following teams, this is number 7, do you think will score the most goals in double game week 32? You went with the 4 kind of mid-tier teams.
Yeah.
Brighton, Palace, Watford, Wolves. Majority of people, 46% went with Palace. A tie between Watford and Wolves in the late 20s, and then Brighton right down there. Brighton have got a home tie against Southampton and away at Chelsea. Brighton at home are not bad, but they don't. I think this is more about who will score the most goals. Zaha's sparked up back into life, and Batshuayi is there as well. So that's why I fully agree. The Huddersfield home fixture for Palace is the most attractive, and that's probably why they've won the bet. Well,
I thought this would be a bit closer between Palace and Watford. Is the only thing I'd add to that.
Because Watford have got Fulham at home. But
yeah, I thought it would be closer between Palace and Watford, but that was came out clear that people think Palace will obviously get a few at the weekend.
I think Batshuayi at 6.5 is good value.
And you'll see that in a question later on as well.
Question number 8. Which of the following sides do you think is most likely to keep a clean sheet? Again, same teams, Brighton, Palace, Watford and Wolves. Palace by far, 69% against Huddersfield.
It's the same thinking, isn't it? It's the assumption that they'll keep a clean sheet against Huddersfield. I mean, in terms of, I've seen some tweets today with the betting odds for the weekend. You know, they're more than 50% to keep a clean sheet at the weekend. And if you're buying in at Tompkins, Wan-Bissaka, or whomever you're going for back there, Gator, that'll do you, won't it? At that price, you'll take the 6 points and the 2 appearance at Spurs and take the 8 and run, if that's what you get. You're fine with that. So I think that's why they're proving very popular. And if you compare it to the others, so Fulham do score goals. Can't keep them out. Burnley obviously need a result against Wolves at the weekend. And Southampton are much improving, who goes to Brighton on the Saturday.
What's the latest on Dings? Is he going to be fit?
Dings?
Danny Ings?
Oh, Danny Ings?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
I thought the rumour was he's going to potentially be back in time for the Brighton game.
I think he's close, yeah.
Yeah, so again, that adds a bit of firepower to them. And if nothing else, James Ward-Prowse will put it in the fucking top corner, mate. As he does.
Played for England, mate.
My darling James.
He played for England.
34 is only 3 weeks away, James. You're coming into my team. Not you, Ward-Prowse.
slightly worried there about you looking into the camera and going, Game Week 34. James, you're coming.
JWP.
Slightly concerning.
Question number 9, free hitters. What would represent a good score for you in double Game Week 32? So 60% of people went with 100 plus. 29% of people 125 plus. So most people are between that 100 to 149
I set this bar too high.
I agree with you.
Yeah, no, I should have set it at probably about 75, 80 as the lowest
start point.
I think so, for free hitters.
You would have still found the majority of people in 100 to 125 points bracket.
I think so. Tom Campbell at TC made a really good point that he tweeted me and said he'd be happy with 30% above the average.
Yeah, I guess so. If you look at the last game week when everyone's doing nothing and the average is 26 points. I mean,
the thing with that is you'd look at it and go, if the big hitters don't bang this weekend, or over the double game week, that average is not going to be that high. So, I mean, if suddenly we end up with an average of, say, I don't know, 60, 65, are you happy to be in the 80s?
Well, the problem we have now as FPL players is earlier in the season, you could look at it from a percentages point of view, but I could be, say the average is 50 and I score 75. I'm 50% above the average, but it's only 25 points. And so the volume of points is not enough to catch me up. I need to be 40, 50 points ahead of the average to make any real headway now, because the gaps have gotten bigger and bigger as the season's gone on and on and on. So a percentage is relative. And for me personally, it's like a number of points. I want to be at least 30, 40 points ahead of the average for me to be able to make any real headway.
I'd like to be a lot more.
Ahead of the average.
Yeah. I'd want to make up well more than double than what I lost on 31. And bearing in mind, what did I get? 20 points net.
Yeah.
I would target sort of 130 to 140 for the game week.
Do you think your team's going to be capable of getting 130 to 140 points? Yeah. I'm going to copy your team then, mate. Right.
Does that mean Sterling's coming in now?
No, he's not. I might get a poor man's Raheem Sterling, which is Leroy Sané. Number 10. Are you likely to have Man City defensive coverage in double game week 32? 76% of people said yes. They'll have at least one.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I'm going double defensive with City.
Yeah, a lot will go with one. I've seen more, and I'd suggested this last week, I'd seen more with double Chelsea, I think. Just because then you can get the firepower of the City up front.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm seeing quite a few with sort of Aguero, Sterling, David or Bernardo, for example.
Yeah. Don't forget when the couple of games that City had not too long ago before the old cup final, West Ham snuck in a 1-0. Who did they beat 1-0 before that? Bournemouth, wasn't it? I think.
Who's that?
City.
Well, yeah, Mahrez scored. at
Yeah,
Bournemouth,
so they
and
snuck
it was
over.
1-0 against yourselves, wasn't
That's
it?
what I was saying, West Ham.
Yeah.
So they snuck over those. So they are prone to sometimes.
They should have won both games.
by
with a lot more
shitloads,
ease,
but they
yeah.
didn't, did they? So
True.
question 11. Which of these forwards with just one fixture in double game week 32 appeals to you the most? You had Aubameyang, Firmino, Lacazette and Jamie Vardy. Vardy won, but let's call it a tie between Vardy and Aubameyang, 40% each.
Do you not find that fascinating, though?
Vardy versus Bournemouth at home versus Aubameyang, who has Newcastle
I'm very
at home.
surprised that you look at, Aubameyang home to Newcastle, Vardy home to Bournemouth, and that's come out as a split.
Yeah.
I'm
really
very surprised. I don't know if that's 'cause-
Leicester resurgence, Brendan
well,
Rodgers.
I wonder if that's a lot of people voting with what they've got rather than what they want.
688 votes in total.
Like I said, in terms of the people got Vardy in for 31 and they're carrying through to 32 now. And are they thinking, well, I've got him, so I want to vote that way? Because I don't agree with that at all. That you'd rather have Vardy than Aubameyang this weekend. Doesn't make sense to me. Because Vardy's not fucking cheap. It's not like Vardy's 6 million. You're going, okay, yeah, there's value. Vardy's expensive as well.
You know what we need to do?
You're going to tell me.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I don't want to shout into the microphone. Manchild. Vardy or Aubameyang? Vardy.
Dickhead.
Manchild just said Vardy. So he's probably that 1% that tipped the poll in excess of it. We should have been asking these questions to this guy, because his blank game week 31 team was so
It
good.
definitely wouldn't have helped the listeners.
West Ham versus Everton is the 5:30 fixture on Saturday in double game week 32. Are you likely to be going to the match?
Are you going or not? Oh, are you fucking divorced or what?
No.
No?
What, from West Ham or my wife? Are you likely to own any players from this match was the actual question. And my miserable face there is because I'm not going to the game because I have to be up in Leicester for a family do first birthday
Because you got
party.
Jamie Vardy in your free hit.
I wish. No. So I'll be watching it on the telly. But yeah, annoying that I can't go because when you get to the end of the season and you've been to so many games, it's annoying to miss the last couple. But anyway, 94% of people said
No.
not surprising.
I threw this question in for two reasons.
Tell me.
One, to piss you off. Two,
Why?
just so you could talk about West Ham for a minute if you wanted
No,
to.
thanks.
And two, I think these two, as we said on the last pod, are kind of the ultimate in beach mode, maybe. It's the live game on the
Call them
telly
what
Saturday
you will.
night.
Trolls, beach
No
mode,
one really
whatever.
knows how this is ended up
Yeah.
as being a live TV game. And I just think it's interesting that come Saturday night, nearly everybody's going to be watching it with
No care
giving a
whatsoever.
shit. You're not looking at them for the future weeks coming up either. So I've seen a few are still like hanging on with like Richarlison and Dean and stuff, aren't they? So
Yeah,
go with it.
And Anderson.
I
and
guess so,
Arnie in
yeah.
A bit. 13.
You couldn't even call the result of that.
Nah.
Could you?
If you were to go with one of these forwards in double game week 32, who would you want? Mitsu Batshuayi, Troy Deeney, Mitrovic, Glenn Murray. All Deeney's the cheapest at 5.9, followed by the others are all 6.5-ish, give or take some loose change. Batshuayi smashed it at 79%.
He's proving really popular on Twitter at the moment.
I think because of our man Zaha's resurgence as well, it makes him more attractive. Zaha's been doing well.
Yeah, as I said, they really missed him in the cup quarterfinals, Zaha, and obviously Batshuayi did score at Watford.
Yeah.
I think there's no doubting that he's a finisher, and he kind of falls back into that line of idea of, like I said, free hit for a team that's playing the weekend, with good fixtures. You look at him home to Huddersfield and think that, it could be there. And then you'd look at the Spurs fixture and anything that came was a bonus.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Spurs fixture is that there is a massive motivation to be the party poopers. And that's what I would expect Palace to be using as motivation in the dressing room. Let's fuck up these guys' party. So there is going to be a certain motivation there to
What's interesting
want to do that.
with this and some of the other polls is that Palace come out really favourably in quite a few of the answers. And there are so many at good prices. And even like Milivojevic is 6.3, I think.
Yep.
You keep looking at him and you're thinking, they could quite easily get a pen against Huddersfield, couldn't they?
Yeah.
And my opinion is that you shouldn't be picking a team based on who might get penalties. But they do, don't they?
Penalties.
And Zaha being fit again is only going to add to that. And you're quite right. He's the main set piece taker of free kicks if they have them as well. So you couldn't even rule him out, even though he's sort of the same price as Batshuayi, I think. Zaha's a little bit more, but there's so many. MacArthur is not out of my thoughts at 4.8. I like Tompkins. A lot of people will still be on Wan-Bissaka from 4. Gator 4.2, I think, is dodgy. And I explained why last week, because I think there's a chance Hennessy plays at the weekend. But there are so many in that team that you could consider them. At Townsend, 5.8.
cheap, yo.
I think he's worth a look. And wouldn't it be ironic if he scored the first goal at Spurs?
Yeah, true.
And it's Spurs boy, isn't he?
Yeah. Question 14. We're going to rattle through these now. Matt Doherty and Raul Jimenez. Will you own the pair in double game week 32? Yes, having both was only 10%. Doherty was 4%. Jimenez 34%, but neither 52%.
This was the answer that stunned me the most. I couldn't believe that.
I think a lot of people would have fucked up and sold them and lost the value and then can't get them back on their free hits.
Well, I assume that there were so many that would have built this way and obviously left them on the bench in 31 because we discussed it, didn't we?
Yeah.
You were kind of in there was the 4 players, Rashford, Pogba and Doherty, Jimenez. I assume there were a lot of people would have left them on the bench 31. So it then seems odd to then not be using that unbelievable value that you've built up. I think Jimenez is a great choice in fact.
Yeah, 6.8 million. I'm happy.
He plays nearly every game.
Jimenez.
I think Hotter is decent as well. It's a little bit more risky than Jimenez.
6.1.
You can't even with that semi-final.
Doherty's too much though, 5.4.
He is now, but if you carried through, I don't see why you wouldn't just go with it.
No,
it's so cheap.
If you'd bought him at 4.5, he'd be what 5.1 in your selling price, and you're only moving from him at 5.1 to maybe Lindelof or someone similar. He doesn't give you enough money to upgrade to either City or Chelsea. So then the only other sideways move is Lindelof, and so at that point I'd keep Doherty for sure ahead of Lindelof or Smalling. Jimenez, I think 6.8 is still good value.
And also, I mentioned on the last pod about him playing for Mexico, he was an unused substitute last night.
Yeah.
So, although, yes, he's had the late travelling, he's actually not played. So, yeah, I think Raul Jimenez is a great choice. My take on not going with Jimenez particularly, and he would be the obvious one if Rashford's ruled out, just go, Jimenez instead, is that it will cost me because I've never been on that value perspective like others have been. I'm behind now. I'm therefore then paying more than $1 million more than everybody else has paid for him, basically. And so that's for me where I want to look at alternatives. But I don't think Raul Jimenez is a bad choice at all.
Question 15. Paul Pogba is currently the most owned player in the game. Will he be in your double game week 32 team? Pogboom, Pogna.
It's Pogboom, isn't it?
88%.
And you're without at the moment?
Is that right? I haven't.
Are you on as well?
Yeah. I've got to carry the value through, right? I made money on that guy. Cha-ching.
What helps with him as well is, play twice.
Yeah.
They don't have a weekend fixture, United.
Yeah.
So you assume they pick a very similar team for both fixtures. So I think, and we'll come on to them in a second.
And they do have injury
I think Lindelof,
issues
Smalling
as well.
are safe. I think if Rashford's fit, I think he plays both games.
They do have a few doubts as well. Quick question. Hold the line. Man child. Pogboom, Pogna. Pogboom or Pogna? Pogba, are you having him? Pogboom. There we go. Manchild said Pogboom.
We should all fucking sell him now, don't you?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think if you carried the value, he's got to stick in, isn't he?
Yeah. Question 16. You have Aguero and Sterling, but you want a third City player, who would you go for? Ederson, Laporte, one of the Silvers, or Leroy Sané? Laporte came out clearly ahead at 44%, closely followed by Ederson at 33%. I think people do want that coverage of City. Then was one of the Silvers at 20%. Leroy Sané's down there at 3%. He's not getting a look in, Leroy Sané, at all. Poor guy.
He's going to absolutely rip it up, isn't he?
Yeah, no doubt. It wouldn't surprise me if Sterling's dropped and Leroy Sané.
If you could say to me now, he'll play both games.
Yeah.
Oh, he'd be in.
Yeah, 9.3.
Serious?
Well worth it. 9.3.
I don't know if he'll start either. Never mind both.
True. Best Chelsea, this is question 17, best Chelsea defensive coverer in double game week 32. Kepa, Azpilicueta, David Luiz or Rudiger. Azpilicueta came up way on top at 52%, as you'd probably expect. David Luiz second at 28%. Kepa was at 17%. I think the problem with Kepa is he's 5.4 million and Ederson is 5.6 million. David De Gea is 5.7 million. Kepa at 5.4 doesn't represent better value for me than Ederson at 5.6, so I've gone Ederson. I'd either drop down to where you are, Foster's of the world at 4.6, maybe Patricio, or go up to Ederson.
My take on the keeper situation, and I completely understand why people want to go Ederson because it's the security.
Safety,
know it,
mate.
100%. They haven't even basically got a backup goalkeeper at the moment. So you know that he's playing 100% as long as he's fit. My take on the keeper situation, particularly for a free hit, and it's kind of my theory anyway, is that on any given week, any goalkeeper will be the top scoring goalkeeper. We've only got to save a fucking penalty, and they'll be the top scoring goalkeeper. Yeah. Etheridge has got Chelsea and City. He could well end up the week as the top scoring goalkeeper, couldn't he? Yeah. And that makes no sense, really. So for me, that's almost the last tick box in terms of my team, is the goalkeeper. It could be anyone.
It could be, but also with the way that I like to... The game weeks that I've done well is when my defence have always generally done well because it gives you the foundation to then rack up the points. But I've always had at least 3 clean sheets in the defence. Gets you up to like 15, 20 points before you've even got into your midfielders and attackers. And so I feel like double City defence gives me a foundation that the rest of the team can build on top of. And you know what they'll do? They'll leak one stupid goal when they're 7-0 up or something. But I still feel that's the right thing to do.
I think everybody that goes Ederson will probably end up with either double Chelsea or they'll definitely end up with a Palace defender. That seems to be how it's looking from the teams I've seen.
Question 18. Which of these differential midfielders do you think is the best choice for double game week 32? You offered out Ryan Babel at 5.5, Deulofeu at 5.6, Jota 6.1 and Townsend 5.8. Deulofeu came out top at 56%. And Townsend was second at 21%. Jota not too far behind, 17%. Babel people aren't looking at. I'm surprised that Deulofeu... That's that loud noise. Matt Chard's in there.
Fuck's that?
I'm surprised. I don't know. It's probably his Tinder or something.
It's Grindr.
He's just swiped left. So I think Deulofeu's come out top because people are blinded by his haul that week against Cardiff potentially. Because I think Townsend potentially at home to Huddersfield is just up there as well.
But we've both got Deulofeu in the team.
Yeah, because it's price, isn't it? I ain't got no money. I keep saying I've got no money. I can't go from Deulofeu to Townsend.
That's 0.2, mate, between Deulofeu and Townsend, right?
Yeah, I'd just sell Harry Kane and get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Really?
No.
I worry about you.
I think Deulofeu's home fixture against Fulham is also still tempting. There's not much in it.
My hope is, and it goes back to what I said last week, the way they got shot to pieces at Liverpool and then did better in the first half at Man City leads me to think that he might go 4-5-1 again and do things like play success wide on the left at Old Trafford, and Deulofeu will play against Fulham. That's what I think and I hope, obviously. Deulofeu's not a lock-in for me. And actually, all of the players on that list are consideration, even Babel.
Number 19, we're nearly there. What United defender is the better choice for double game week 32? Lindelof or Smalling? Everyone's gone with 70% Lindelof at 5.1.
I still think it's Smalling, but I think a lot of people will end up same as my. I'm going to end up with Lindelof, and the missus has had the baby.
Yeah.
So should be all right from that perspective.
True.
He obviously pulled out the Sweden games for his birth. I heard that she didn't want him to fuck off, basically. She said he was staying at home. But they've had the baby. He hasn't played for Sweden. He's had a break. So he looks absolutely... The pair of them look locked at centre-half as well.
Yeah.
I think quite a few mentioning the others. I still don't know the situation on Shaw's bookings. If he gets booked against Watford, does he miss the Wolves game? I'm not sure. And Young and Dallow, I got a feeling might play a game each. And that's one of the
Dallow
reasons
sometimes
I
is pushed
don't
into midfield, defensive midfield.
Yeah,
can
and
be.
obviously if they're still struggling for a few injuries there, Dallow, oddly enough, what happens with Martial might have an effect on Dallow's minutes. And Martial's getting next to no mentions. And if he's past fit, I mean, he's worth a shout, isn't he?
Yeah.
When I wildcarded over Christmas, I went with Pogba, Rashford and Martial. And I just missed out on the little haul at Fulham because I couldn't really wait any longer, unfortunately. But if he's on it, he's capable. No doubt about it. I don't think... If he's definitely fit, he's not a bad shout. But unless you know for certain, I'd be avoiding him.
And let's go on to question number 20. Who is going to win the league, City or Liverpool? And I did notice that you told Marsy Boy at Mars, is it? I don't know, it's the Twitter handle off the top of my head.
05.
05. That you put this question in just for him. Who's going to win the league, City or Liverpool?
I definitely did not put that in the Twitter questions just for fucking Mars from the Three Amigos. That didn't happen.
70% say City.
Well, they're in front, aren't they? So
They are. Do you know what the odds are on Manchester City doing the quadruple at the moment?
I don't know.
I have no idea
12
either.
to 1 or something. I
But,
bet it's not that high.
I'm a degenerate gambler, so I'm going to put £2 on it.
Let's see if I can find it. I bet it's not that high.
You don't think it's going to be that high?
Nah.
So there you go. That was a good run of questions, actually, and it was interesting
Well,
to
it
get a
covers
feel for. It gives us a feel for the
a
community.
lot of bases, and obviously from the answers there, as I said to you earlier today, you almost get a feel of a template Twitter team.
Yeah.
With sort of like a Lindelof, Laporte,
Yeah.
and then your differentials in there like Delafeu,
Yeah.
Batshuayi, and then there's all the obvious ones: Pogba, Hazard, Sterling, Aguero, and that's kind of your basis of the Twitter free hit team at the moment. And obviously, everybody will have their own variations of what they want. And obviously, interesting, the 4 people that I'd mentioned for the captaincy, we know everyone's generally going to go Aguero or maybe Sterling. But between Aguero, Sterling, Hazard, Kane, I think you can only have 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
If you're on the free hit. It's incredibly difficult to get the 4. I think like to do it, I'd have to sacrifice Pogba, for example, and I'm not willing to do that. And for me, the one that would miss out from the 4 is Kane. I think Hazard with those 2 fixtures has got to be in your team.
We got to do some Twitter questions.
Go on, Em.
We certainly do. We've got 20 minutes or so to keep it under the 90 minutes. We might squeak in some Fergie time as well. Squeeze in some Fergie time as well. You ready for this?
Hit us. I'm trying to find out what price Man City are to win the quadruple, but I'll never get there.
Stick 50p on it if you don't mind. Ron Weasley, question of the day. There's only one place to start. Have you read it?
Yeah, but I can't remember it.
Okay. What's up, lads? Ron Weasley's question of the day. Great couple of performances from the England during the break. Rank these scenarios in which order you would most like to see them. And they've got nothing to do with England. So, well, one of them has. So I don't know what reference he's making to England's performances. But
Well, he is making a reference then, isn't he?
your rival is relegated. And I'm assuming that means your like Arsenal get relegated or what have you. England smash Euro 2020. I.e. they must win it, obviously. You win £10,000. Or I pitch invade at West Ham.
Mate, by the time you tried to pitch invade at West Ham, it's so far you'd be out of fucking breath, mate.
No, mate, I'm running the marathon in fucking 30, 35, 40 days.
And that's not as far as it'll take you to get on the pitch at West Ham.
Not at all, mate. I could jump onto the pitch. Go on. In order of what you would like to see them.
So what? Gooners to get relegated?
Mm-hmm.
See, the only thing with that is, I mean,
England smash Euro 2020.
I would obviously like to see Arsenal fall into some sort of fucking abyss. But it's actually, in truth, a little bit like when you go down. I miss the fixtures.
Okay.
Like when you've gone down, you do look at the fixtures and think, I ain't playing West Ham this year. That's a bit shit. So, I mean, I'd quite like Arsenal to be 17th every fucking year. Would do me fine.
That would do you nicely.
Yeah. I'd miss the fixtures, although I never enjoy the fixtures when they're happening. I'd miss the fixture, so probably not them to get relegated. Allow them to fuck off back to South London where they come from. Would be nice. I'd probably take the money, you know.
Me too.
I'm a greedy fucker.
Me too. You win 10k is top of it, or second. He wants them in order. 10 grand, mate. I'll have it all day long.
But interestingly, if you said to me, right, you can have 100 grand or Spurs win the league, hard to Spurs win the league.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because.
And that opens up a club v country debate. I know that Ron, having met Ron when we had the night when the Hell Cheaters come out, I know that England is more important to him than West Ham. We was having a good chat about it. But it's club first for me.
So 10 grand's top. For me, 10 grand's top. Then England winning Euro 2020. Then me pitch invading at West Ham. And then our rivals getting relegated. That's the order.
Are you doing this pitch invasion naked? Are you streaking as well?
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to see it. Next question.
Yeah. I was just debating whether or not I'd do it starkers, but probably yeah. I'd do it if someone said to me,
do it in your
Deadpool
suit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's maybe one for next week. Next question, shall we?
Aye.
Right. This is coming in from
5-1. That's it.
5-1
to win the fucking lot. Yeah.
That's worth it a couple of quid.
You won't get rich, mate.
Nah, that's true.
At Sky, but that's a free plug if you want to sponsor us, you pricks.
Let me ask Stephen Toomey's question for nuts fuck's sake. 6th goal, Stephen Toomey. Am I knucking futs to consider Richarlison as a starring the earth? I don't understand that. Starring.
Give me that shit. Let me see it.
Starring the earth midfielder.
Starring the earth. Let me see it. Well, show me the fucking iPad.
Starring the earth.
It's obviously a fucking autocorrect or something. I don't know.
I have no
sounds
idea.
like a character in Star Wars.
Okay,
or
let's
something.
just as a starting midfielder.
Starting Beth, maybe.
Fuck. Starring the earth midfielder.
It's for a starting Beth, isn't it? It's got to be.
Over the likes of Milivojevic. As a weak West Ham conceded 3 in their last game. Richarlison with 2 in his last 2.
He fucking hates Richarlison.
That's why he wants to know if he's nuts.
For those who don't know, Stephen at 6 Goals are Watford correspondent.
Correct.
And he does like to get a dig in on Everton whenever he can. I'm really surprised to see that. No, Stephen, you've lost your fucking mind, mate.
Yeah. King David King _ David _ 08. I wonder if he really is a king. Who the flip do I triple captain? Hazard, Sterling, or Aguero? I'd go Aguero.
It's I'm sure that the majority of people with triple captain will be on Aguero.
I would agree with you on that.
Sterling probably has the higher ceiling.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to go Aguero.
Sure. A question coming in from FPL Cartel. FPL _ Cartel. I wonder if they are a cartel. The FPL mob.
What, all the people tweeting or just him? Or her?
Well, I don't know if it's a him or a her, or it's a group of people that have voted by democracy. I have Rashford and Jimenez, both at risk of injury and rotation. Should I get rid of both and downgrade the midfielder to get Kane and Quaynor to obviously pick the cheapest available? Already got Aguero and on a free hit. So now the reason I'm asking this question and I've picked it is because of the value side of things. Because Rashford and Jimenez are both players that people have, a lot of players in the game have bought cheap. And so if you're making that decision to get rid of one or the other, do it as late as possible. Because if you sell one now and want to get them back, you're paying, yo.
Yep.
I
think that'll be front three for a lot of teams. I mean, again, I think Jimenez will play twice. So if you want to go for him, go for him. Rotation's going to bite everybody this week. Like, accept it. Go in with the idea of knowing that it's going to hurt you a bit. So, yeah, I mean, if Rashford gets the thumbs up, it's definite for me. I think that's a really good balanced front three, and it allows you more power in midfield. So it would allow you, I think, to go from, say, a Deulofeu to Son to add to Sterling, Pogba and Hazard, for example.
Sure.
Allows you to go very powerful there.
Lewis Chewitz. You remember Lewis?
Lewis.
Yeah.
Whitson.
Correct. Budget midfielder for my last starting spot on the free hit. McTominay or Dale Stevens.
Oh, this is great with some
It
barrels
says
here, isn't it?
starting spot. So
Starting.
it says starting spot for free
I tell you
hit.
who I'd like to have gone for and really would have considered is Dendoncker.
Yeah,
But I think-
4.3 million.
yeah.
He was in one of my drafts of my free hit.
I think particularly that midfield area for
But
Wolves is at risk.
he's only got one assist since he's joined, no other attacking return. But
doesn't
then he's
matter
paying
at
peanuts,
that.
aren't you? You're
I
paying
think
nothing.
I've got Stevens sitting on my bench at the moment, so
Yeah.
yeah. And McTominay is a waste of a United position if you want treble United, in my opinion. So yeah, Stevens.
Chris Lol Same. He's probably laughing out loud because that's what his Twitter handle is.
Lol.
Why is Mendy not a serious consideration? Something to do with the fact that he hasn't played for fucking
Because he
months?
he doesn't take himself seriously. I don't.
He
think.
hasn't played for ages, has he? You
The
can't.
the chance of him playing both games are surely very, very minute.
Yeah.
I know he's training. I know company's training. Fernandinho, De Bruyne, they are all training. And they're probably all going to get some minutes over these two games. So, like I said, prepare yourself. It's going to be fucking pain. Mendy is also fucking expensive as well. So, I don't even know what price he is now, but I don't think you could... Nah.
Not a consideration.
Nah.
Dan-
I mean, as well, he falls into that Sane bracket for me that, yeah, okay, could play both. Might play neither.
Dan Martin. I saw a flipping iPad in it. Dan Martin 99. Did they bother installing a trophy cabinet at the new look White Hart Lane? What Dan probably doesn't know is that we're half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away from White Hart Lane, probably in that direction. And in between here and White Hart Lane actually is a
It's
massive
actually
IKEA,
that
mate.
fucking direction.
Yeah, wherever. But there's a really big IKEA here, so they've probably not bothered installing one. And if they pick up anything, they can just pop down there and buy something.
We can just go and get a little...
lac or something, one of those shelves from
What do you call
IKEA.
them? What do you fucking call them when you make
Flat
IKEA?
pack.
Yeah, shit.
There you go.
Yeah, one
yeah.
of
So
them.
I don't think they have, mate, because it's only like, yeah, you could carry the trophy cabinet to what?
Yeah,
IKEA.
no bother. Yeah,
And it'd fit in, and seeing as the stadiums already cost you best part of $1 billion,
yeah.
save a bit of money on
It's
the
the next
trophy
fucking
cabinet.
question, you prick.
Is there a trophy cabinet?
Yes, there definitely is, mate. It's got a lot of dust on it, but there is one. I should
Yeah.
imagine.
My God, if I had £1 for every question here that said Aguero or Sterling or both, my marathon appeal would be already done and dusted. What marathon appeal, I hear you ask?
You fucking dick.
I'm going to be putting another tweet out. We've been a bit lax. It's now 4.5 weeks until I'm going to be pounding the streets of London, raising money for Haven House Children's Hospice. And for everybody that's ever messaged and thought, you know what, these guys put some hours in, all doing it for nothing and for free, and it's really kind of them. Donate some money to my marathon appeal. Enough said.
Yeah, do you know what? What are people donating to me? You ain't doing nothing good, James.
James put 20 questions out on Twitter, and that was hard work enough.
Yeah, exactly. If people want to donate to next year's season ticket, where I can go and try and not fill my trophy cabinet again, please feel free.
Yep. FPL Wildfire asks a really interesting question. Are centre-backs better double game week 32 options than wing-backs because centre-backs are more likely to play both fixtures? Now, talking about your defence and my defence, I have David Luiz, centre-back, Laporte, centre-back, left of a three maybe, but centre-back. I have Johnny, wing-back, but you are telling me to replace him with Tompkins, potentially, centre-back. So potentially. You've got Laporte, Luiz, remind me your other. Lindelof, centre-back. Interesting, hey, how wing-backs are now not longer in fashion.
It's just safer during this game week. I'm not suggesting, for example, that Lindelof, generally speaking, would be if there was nothing in the price, you'd probably go Ashley Young, as for example, or Luke Shaw. And that's the case if Mendy was going to play twice, then yeah, he's a better choice than Laporte, isn't he? I think as Pilaqueta is actually still the best choice from Chelsea this game week.
Yeah.
But the centre-backs, yes, will give you that security, you would think.
FPL DC.
There are a few examples against it. I think like Watford, for example, I have no idea what they'll be doing in terms of changes.
No, it's
See,
true.
Mariappa getting more mentions.
I liked him at 4.2, but then he missed the game just the other week, didn't he? So
That's why I've gone Foster. Like Mariappa,
and Femenia is also cheap,
Cathcart,
but he missed the game before last. So.
Hollybass.
Hollybass is still yellow flagged.
Yeah. No, Watford in terms of the actual defensive positions, I know I'd sort of mentioned. I think Mariappa's a good one to throw in as like the first sub, maybe.
Yep.
At that price.
FPLDC at FPLDC82. Is Manchild's team using any chips this game week? Yo, Manchild. There's no response.
He's dead.
Manchild. There's no response.
Oh, he's left.
Yeah. Okay, Manchild has left the building. We do not know, but judging what happened last game week, probably not.
No. I'm going to tell him to triple captain Aguero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he should be using his free hit, surely.
No. Because he only had like 4 players in 31. At least he'll have a fucking team this week, right?
Yeah.
I think he should triple
playing,
captain.
so.
He's going to be fucked for 33, right?
Yeah,
so I think he
true.
should free hit in 33.
Amber Redmond asks, what's the stupidest transfer you've ever made?
Ever? Oh my gosh. It's probably fucking Theo Wildcard at the start of this season.
What, in that week where you said but the thing is you tipped Theo Walcott that game week because you predicted a double or a triple price rise, and there was a double price rise in that single game week.
It was a treble, I think.
Was it a triple?
I think so.
Yeah, quite possibly.
That seems astonishing, doesn't it?
It wasn't completely stupid.
No, it's not the most stupid one. Oh god, that's so on the spot.
The most stupid player I've ever bought is Berahino, for sure. But then there wasn't a transfer I made. I bought him at the start of the season, but I suppose I bought him at some point. He's the most stupid transfer.
I think players like Walcott make you feel like they're same old mistakes. Oh, I've fucking been through this before, haven't I? Like,
Yeah.
And you go back and you think, oh, maybe this time. So, yeah, that's regretful. I think, buying someone because of 2 half-decent performances when they are clearly regressing as a footballer and playing for... He'd obviously taken a step down from Arsenal to Everton. In hindsight, was a silly choice. But I wasn't alone. A lot of people made that transfer. Obviously.
Obvs. FPL Shotgun NUFC. Is Kane worth... there's a reason I'm asking this question. It's not going to be a long answer. Is Kane worth the extra near 2 million over Lukaku when the money can turn a James Tompkins into Cesar Azpilicueta, or the extra 5 million over Rashford? Well, Shotgun. The answer is no on Lukaku, because if you keep an eye on Twitter, you'll notice that he may be out for 2 weeks. But 5 million over Rashford. Conventional wisdom is both, potentially, if you can, right? No, they're not in the same price bracket.
More importantly, what is boo-boo?
It's Shotgun, isn't it? His Twitter handles...
Wouldn't it be...
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah?
All right, then. Whichever shotgun or little pistol that you want. I was laser questing. Laser quest. Go on. You think?
Well, okay. Lukaku's off the table now.
Off the table. So
we
2 million
assume
out.
At this stage.
5 million on Rashford.
I think
they're different price brackets, surely.
Lukaku's injury makes Rashford a more exciting prospect for the double game week.
So at that point, no.
To what?
Is Kane worth 5 million more than Rashford?
No. I mean, if it's a straight choice between Kane and Rashford, I mean, if you go Rashford, then instead of I don't know, Delafeu, you're having Hazard, aren't you? I mean, that's the sort of difference we're talking about here. It's not miles off. Probably a bit more than that.
And the thing to remember, Shotgun, I got it right that time,
better, yeah.
is if you're talking about it from a defensive strategy point of view as well, Kane is going to have much lower ownership than Rashford. So you're kind of covering yourself against other picks if you stick with Rashford over Kane. Kane's at what, 15%?
I really think if you're free hitting, don't worry about that this week.
Covering people.
It's just one game week. When you're looking at more game weeks, consider these sort of things. One game week. I don't want to sacrifice any points for someone because they're more of a differential than someone else. This week I want to pick the team that I think is going to get more points than anybody else, and that's what I'll be doing. Nothing else comes into my thoughts on a free hit.
I got my head in my hand for a reason because I just read the next question.
Oh, okay.
FPO_Tika at FPO_Bailey. I don't know what's worse, this question or my love affair with Leroy Sané.
Uh-oh.
I'm thinking Jesus over Aguero for the double game week.
Wow.
This has started well, isn't
Ooh,
it?
fuck.
Simply due to the fixtures after the double game week, a semi-final in the FA Cup, Champions League. Surely this is when Pep Roulette will kick in. And it frees up a bit of cash. That last statement, frees up cash, is definitely not a reason to go with Jesus.
Was it frees up $1 million or?
Well, I just, like, we've been talking for
That
however
is
long.
incredibly left field. I appreciate the question because it's so different.
I no.
No. No.
I'm speechless. No.
Lord help you. No.
Okay.
No. Could Jesus outscore Aguero in the double game? Yes, of course he could. They could play one game each and Jesus could fire. Why don't you get both? If you're that worried about it. Jesus is not going to start twice.
Definitely not.
No.
Right, okay. All the other questions I'm flicking through
Aguero,
revolve
Sterling.
around
Who
pretty
should I
much.
captain?
Aguero, Pogba, Sterling, Hazard.
Harry Kane.
And that's it, and Harry Kane. Who is the most hyped free hit 32 player that we are all overrating? Give you an example. Wan-Bissaka has not had a 6+ points return in 11 game weeks, yet most people worship him. Are there any others that you've seen that people are jumping on that you think is worth avoiding?
Who's the question from?
That's from Kevin Jeffries at Kevin Jeffries.
Yeah. So I think those who've obviously been carrying through Wan-Bissaka, it's obvious. You just leave him, don't you, at 4 million or so. Even if you left him on the bench, he's got to stay in that squad, surely. I prefer Tompkins over that now. In terms of overhyped.
Just one thing on Wan-Bissaka, he's got a yellow exclamation mark right now.
Yes, true. No, I don't think anyone... I think Spurs are really avoidable. But I wouldn't say they're being overhyped in the Twitter community. I think people's fear on Jimenez is being a bit overhyped because historically, just look at his numbers, suggests that he always plays in that position. Hotter is a little bit more of a concern. But no, I think Jimenez will probably play twice. So in terms of, that's probably the opposite, the most underhyped. Based on what we've seen in the polls and what we've seen historically, don't discount Raul Jimenez, even though I'm doing it.
2 more questions and we're going to wrap up this pod.
Go on then.
Put a nice bow on it and put it out to the listeners. This is coming from Asgear at Oscar Sigala on Twitter. 2 questions. One is for double game week, Kepa or Foster? I think Foster's better value at 4.6 than Kepa, so do that.
Yeah.
And his second question, will you guys make a mini league next season for listeners and followers? We have one already, so we'll renew it for next year, but I'm leaving it next year.
What, because you can't find yourself in it?
Well, when I log in and it says you are like 500 and something, it just makes me feel like there's at least 600 or 700 people that listen to the show that are better at the game than me, that then listen to me rabble on for 90 minutes talking to you.
Did you see the listener numbers for last week? Because I can assure you, it's a lot more than 500
no,
or 600.
But they're not in the league. And
No,
above me.
that are better than you.
Yeah, it's probably true that they are better than me. But then last week I did beat you in that blank game week. So,
Big deal.
oh, it's you. Manchild.
What was we going to ask him earlier?
Is the question on Twitter was Manchild going to use any?
What chip
chips?
are you using this week? His face, his eyes fucking popped out of his
Do you
head.
know what they are?
He's free hitting.
Oh, he's free hitting.
I
Oh,
think
he's free hitting.
Triple captain
Oh,
princess.
he's free
I think.
hitting.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. £5. Because free hit, basically, actually, to be fair, you are at a disadvantage because you have less cash in the bank because you won't have built up value in your players. I'd be surprised if he's got even 100 million to spend. £5, your free hit against my free hit team to the charity for the marathon. You on it? Yeah.
All right,
I love making bets with people in public
don't
because they
think-
can't say no.
I don't think he understood a word that you just said.
Good. Haven House, £5 is coming from me or him, one or the other.
All right, cool.
We do have a league, but I just find it depressing to find that all the listeners are better than us both. Quite a lot of them are.
Yeah, I think I pulled it from the bio because I don't want people to join anymore.
Nah, next season we'll bring it back. And last but not least, Pete Davis, Davis Station 73 on Twitter. All right, lads, with all this Giroud loving going on after the international break, what's your thoughts on Higuain's position in the team for both games? Keep up the good work.
Not really spoke about Higuain, and obviously I'm going with it.
9.6 million in that kind of middle no man's land between
it's a gamble.
The sevens and the 11s.
It's absolutely definitely a gamble. I said last week that if they didn't have those two fixtures, I wouldn't go anywhere near him. But I think he can get returns in those games, and so I'm gonna run with it. He's locked in for me, Higuain. I think. I'd take the view that yes, Giroud could play one of those two games. Higuain would definitely have favouritism from Sarri, and the fact that they don't play till the Monday night in game week 33 leads me to think that Higuain probably will play both games, and even if he doesn't, he's likely to get minutes, and if they're a couple ahead, could he get returns late on against Cardiff or Brighton? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he looks fucked after 45 minutes anyway. So if he plays one of the games as a sub, it might not be a bad thing. Yeah,
about a whole game between two you get out of him. There you go.
Probably.
Yes. One last bit from Tawfiq El Sharif, because these are just a couple of questions. He's put in a regular contributor to the show. Suj, how is the preparation for the London Marathon going? And James, how are you feeling after your first day setting foot in your new stadium? Emotional, I think you said.
Yeah.
Worth it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. The one thing I'd say, because I know a lot of people think I've been going on about it for 20 months, and I have been. It will never beat White Hart Lane for me, because that's spiritual home. But it's there's nothing. Most of the people, you can look through my tweets and see the pictures and videos I sent from the weekend. There isn't a single picture or video that does justice for how steep the stands are.
Okay.
That single tier is a sight to behold. Like, I promise you, whatever you've seen pictures or on the TV, when you go, if you're an away fan and you go, when you get there, you'll be like, fucking hell, that is bigger than I thought it would be. It is quite a sight.
Better than the Emirates?
Yeah, obviously standard.
Yeah, I know, but being genuine.
I mean, one of the unique things about the stadium is it's open plan. You can walk all around. So
similar to London Stadium, you can as well.
All around the place in the seats. I don't think we'll be able to once the league games start there, but they'd let people go wherever they wanted at the weekend. I was emotional Sunday morning. Once I got in the ground, I was happy. I was like, yeah, it just felt like a big ass White Hart Lane.
Yeah.
It just felt bigger. Last Thursday, I was tweeting this to Mars actually earlier. I was like, last Thursday, I was a wreck. I was a mess. I got upset about it.
Yeah. You've been going there a long time.
No shit.
And Tawfiq, how's my prep for the London Marathon going? I ran best part of just over 27 kilometres on Sunday. My legs were battered.
My legs were battered at Spurs on the weekend.
Yeah, for walking round and round the stadium. You should have streaked,
that
mate.
Single tier, 82 rows. So I went down to the front and then walked up.
All the way back up.
Fucking, that's a workout, mate.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm looking forward to going, actually, because it was always nice to get into different stadiums. And I've got one long run left, and I'm just going to wing it on the marathon day. I'm running this weekend, and after that, I'm just going to turn up and see what happens.
You got a target time?
Well, yeah, 5 hours, which is actually not that quick. Some people will be like, 5 hours, but I've only had 100 days to train, and I hadn't road run for like 7 years before.
Have you done it before?
11 years ago, maybe.
Time?
4:20.
4:20?
Yeah, I could if I'd had
you don't
3
think you
more
can beat
months.
That?
No, not with the training that I've done. I could next year, but not this year. Next year, I'll be running again, probably as a giant football.
I don't think I could do 5 hours in a fucking Uber, to be honest with you. It's really interesting you give me all that information, because I haven't entered the time in the work sweepstake yet. So cheers, mate.
No, wait. I'll give you some inside information. Don't worry about that.
I've seen some guesses like 3 hours, 30 minutes. I'd have put a fucking
fucking guessed 3 hours 30? It's not fucking...
I'll put an X through that, shall I?
Yeah. Welcome to Planet FPL. My name's Mo Farah. Fucking hell, who do they think I am? 3 hours 30.
I thought you might be able to do it in 4, actually, but I'm pleased.
Yeah, I could if I'd trained, but I hadn't had enough time. So
coulda, woulda, shoulda.
There you go. What else do we have to tell the listeners about FPL?
Not a lot. Hold your nerve. Don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong this week, particularly those on the free hit. Like, seriously, pick the players that you want. Don't let anybody tell you, you should have a weaker bench, you should have a stronger bench, or I wouldn't play him. Pick the 11 you want, stick with it. And my key point is, like, on a differential point of view, pick the 11 players, if you're free hitting, that you think will score the most points this weekend, and we'll all rise together. That's it.
There we go. We're going to be back with episode 54, Monday, Tuesday next week, in between the weekend fixtures and then the second round of fixtures for 10 of the teams, and then back again on Thursday in the lead up to game week 33, where most people get their one free transfer back if they're free hit.
So when are we recording next week?
Well,
I listened to all of it, but I didn't listen to any of it.
I don't know what you...
When are we recording next week?
Monday and Thursday.
I like that.
Which will
Two
be
shorter pods.
Tidy. Yeah, we'll keep it short and snappy. Monday will be kind of little fill-in. Maybe we'll do another Ask Me Anything style. Get your Twitter questions in for a bit of fun. Followed by Thursday, which will sort out the men from the boys and see who really did rise up the ranks. And then into game week 33. As soon as game week 33 starts, what are you going to do?
Wildcard.
Wildcard is coming. And James Ward-Prowse, you're mine. Ciao for now.
Good luck, everyone. Cue music, Matt Child, Man Child, whoever the fuck it is this week.
It's me, Mario.
The Fantasy Football Show.